I am a survivor of domestic violence. The funny thing is that I did not know I was a victim of domestic violence until I came here to the Center for Women and Families.
You try to keep it to yourself, and you're also thinking it's your fault. I didn't know where to turn.
I learned there about the cycle of domestic violence that had actually been going on in my life for so many years. The center literally saved my life.
Domestic violence has no boundaries. It affects people of all race, religion, socioeconomic background. It does take on many different faces.
Historically, responding to domestic violence calls for law enforcement is one of the most dangerous types of calls for us to respond to.
There's a lot of emotions involved in that type of call, and you always have to be on guard because you just never know what to expect.
When you start talking about the crimes of domestic violence and sexual assault, one thing is pretty clear, that law enforcement cannot do it alone. One of the things that I've learned early on was to align yourself with strong advocates. The Center for Women and Families was one of those advocates.
The collaboration between the Center's offices and our police force is tremendous.
The Center for Women and Families is a crisis center. We help victims who are currently being affected by domestic violence, sexual violence, as well as children who are being physically and emotionally abused.
When violence happens in a family, it doesn't just affect one or two individuals, it affects that entire family.
It took me 3 attempts to finally get a restraining order, and in that time, myself and my children went through hell.
A lot of times what you'll also have is manipulation on the part of the offender, telling her, you're not going to see the kids, or I make all the money in the house, what are you going to do now if I can't work or if I can't come home?
What we see here at the center are victims that will go through our services sometimes as much as 7 to 10 times.
And the abuser gets away with horrible crimes because the abused doesn't have that support and that strength. They don't have the ride to work. They don't have the lunch money for their kids. They don't have the simple rudiments of life.
Family violence is the #1 cause of admissions to emergency rooms for women in Connecticut and across this country. 1 in 4 women will see some form of violence in their adult lifetime.
By the time we got people to court, we used the analogy that they had fallen in the river and they were going over the waterfall. A family justice center is catching them before they fall into the river.
It is an overwhelming and daunting experience to have to go to several different locations and to tell a story over and over and over again. To have a multidisciplinary team of professionals who are all working under one roof together in one building, to me, is the greatest gift we could ever give our clients.
You're going to get people to be more comfortable to talk about this problem, and you're also, I think, going to have a better opportunity to really address it.
Just going to help bring services to the survivors so that they don't feel that they have to go back to the abuser.
One of the positive outcomes in states that have family justice centers is that there's been a reduction in domestic violence homicides, and that's documented.
People are affected in a lot of different ways by domestic violence or abuse, and they need help in a lot of different ways under one roof, whether it's advocacy on their behalf in the justice system, prosecution, mental health needs, counseling.
These are services that are funded, that are in existence, that don't need new staffs, but need to be able to work together relating to solve these overall problems.
The real benefit is to the victim, is that they only have to go to one place. They don't have to worry about hopping through the legal system or hopping through government bureaucracy. That's all done for them at one place.
Working with our police department through public-private partnerships where we make our community organizations part of the process shows a real commitment to public safety.
There is a real need for victims to feel comfortable with the system and feel safe. The hardest thing for a victim to do is to walk through the door and ask for help. The most common sense, logical thought is the Family Justice Center. It's just the logical step to keep victims of abuse safe and to make offenders accountable.
Family Justice Center, I think, is a great idea. You have your prosecutor, your advocates, and then, of course, your people here that can set them at ease and get them what they need right away. For them to understand that and be involved with the police, know that they have somebody to go to is tremendous.
It's very long in coming, but it's what these individuals deserve.
Every victim of domestic violence has the opportunity to be heard, to become empowered.
You have a right to not want to be treated like this. You have a right to say no more.
Safety, healthy relationships, and self-sufficiency.
Please contribute.
Please participate.
We're engaged.
We're determined.
Join us.